I got my associates in criminal justice and wanted to be a lawyer and save the world. And then I took my first philosophy course after that, and it was Intro to Philosophy, and it totally changed my whole life. And I loved that sort of, I don't know, mental workout in a way. And it really deepened and strengthened me in a lot of ways. That's why I'm so drawn to it and why I really think it's so crucial for young people, people of all ages, to look at their lives philosophically. So I got my bachelor's in philosophy, politics, and law because I always liked the really applied aspects of philosophy. And then I got my master's in practical philosophy and applied ethics with a focus on democracy and education. So Socrates Garden is really my way of, like, it's the most democratic form of education that I can really think of, except that the students aren't currently developing the curriculum themselves, but that's, you know, there's always room for that.
For that to happen, what are 3 things that seeds need to grow?
They need water, sunshine.
Water, sun.
Socrates Garden is a concept that I came up with based in my, I was inspired to bring philosophy to kids, to young children, because I currently teach it at a university, but I really think it's critical to get it out to students and children at a young age. So Socrates Garden is my way of integrating nature and gardening into philosophy as a way to provide an experiential approach to learning for children. Because I also think that children learn a lot when they're actually doing things. And so by getting them out in the garden or out in nature anywhere, and getting them to inquire philosophically, I think really strengthens tools that they'll need to make decisions for the rest of their life. And so it started because I wanted to do this kind of outreach program, and I just happened to network with a lot of people who are into the, local food in Jacksonville, and they hooked me up with a garden at a local school so I could go in there and kind of do a test run of all of these ideas, and now it's starting to grow, so that's really exciting. The first class is usually about planting seeds, so we plant seeds metaphorically and really. We talk about what seeds need to grow and then what people need to grow and kind of how they overlap and interrelate, because the whole idea is to take their experience and that they have in the garden or in nature, wherever it may be, and apply it to themselves. The students love it. I mean, typical reactions is from parents mostly. They're like, I can't get my kid to eat this food at home. But for some reason, when he pulls it up from the garden, he eats it and he loves it.
Food is getting very, very expensive. The soil in traditional farming methods is being degraded and stripped of everything that's important for human and plant health. Things that are passed on from one generation to the next are being lost. And so it's up to people who have that kind of knowledge to impart that onto others.
What I really want is for the students to be fully engaged all the time and asking questions. I want them to be coming up with hypotheses and testing them and doing experiments, finding the results, and then applying those results to future tests and hypotheses as well. In the last Socrates Garden enrichment program that I did, the last class, I just happened to have my bee equipment in the car. And so I brought out the veil and I brought out the smoker, and I went to bee college this year, which was awesome. And I bought 2 children's books on bees. And so I got out my veil and my smoker and I read a story, and I had honeycomb and I had some dead bees from my hive, which they actually really liked to play with and look at. And it was the most well-received lesson of the program by far. Any education I can give to the children about bees also then trickles down or up to their parents as well, and then out that way. So, you know, generally I'd like to educate whole communities about honeybees, but Socrates Garden is one place where I can start and where the kids have already been really receptive to it. So, one of the most fascinating parts about bee behavior and bee life, I think, is that the hive as a whole is considered the entire organism. So when you're talking about the bee, you're actually talking about one hive. And all of the individual bees in there just make up that one greater whole, the whole hive. And that's definitely where there's a lot of room for philosophical discussion. If it's true for bees, then you could also ask the same question for people. Are we organisms, or are we part of a big collective whole superorganism? The number one thing is really to give children some power over their experience at school. to be able to think for themselves and ask different questions and really explore their natural curiosity that they have. And it's just a way for them to expand themselves. And so that's totally it. And then one of my personal goals is, secretly, I just want everyone to grow their own food too. So if I can empower students and also give them some practical skills for, I don't know, even just growing a couple herbs outside their apartment one day, then I'll feel pretty good about that.